we've had the cloud kind of, somewhat forced on us as technologists. I mean, there's a lot of efficiency gain from moving to the cloud. I think last stat I heard was we're about 50% adopted in the cloud. Now, that means that, we had to retool security for this new environment. So, you had a lot of vendors scrambling to try to retool their own, antivirus offering to go after cloud workloads, or, net new infrastructure in the cloud. So, retooling for that. But a major trend as well, because of the lack of headcount in security, and sort of, this is the maturity within security programs has meant that we have a lot more mandates placed upon us with compliance frameworks and standards and localized laws, geographical laws, etc. And this is driving the demand for greater utilization of every headcount within security, and this means that people need to hire more, and people call it the skills shortage. I would actually say that if you compare, let's say, the security market to, let's say, the insurance industry that's existed for several hundred years or 100 years more, we're actually in our infinitesimal stage, right? We're still just barely entering the landscape of the economy. I've often at Gartner, as sort of a think tank, putting my think tank hat on, thought that we really underestimate the impact that a cloud failure, a massive cloud failure, is going to have. And I would say that, given that we're at that roughly 50% adoption marker, this means that I'm going to just say this out loud. If the cloud went down tomorrow, or as of the ending of this webinar, 50% of the economy would halt. Okay, so to me, the cloud represents a lot of optimization and a lot of really good improvements, innovations, but at the same time, it introduces additional risk, right? And although this is not a Gartner position, this is my personal opinion, I believe the cloud can represent a national security risk as well. So that diversity away from just focusing on monoculture also is important in the way that we go about securing our environments and making architectural decisions. And I would say that we've reached that point where, if Amazon goes down, it's massive impact. If one single automation, and believe me, the cloud is all basically stuck together with automation, right? If one automation goes awry, we can have a national security risk. And so that's something that I think, we need to plan for. We know that, for example, in AI and machine learning, those technologies are extremely beneficial, but now we're having to protect the AI model operations itself, the data that we're utilizing behind the scenes to build our machine learning. And the same types of things hold true to the way that we treat automation. We need to, especially in larger platforms, we need to design our automation well. We need to design automation with resiliency. And so those are things that I think are on the horizon. I guess the magic of a Magic Quadrant is that Gartner assesses all of the different elements of a business: their marketing execution, their revenue, their sales execution, their marketing programs. It's a full assessment of a vendor from top to bottom from a business standpoint. And that's what makes it magical, is you can have a very large company that has an army of salespeople that sell really well, and you can have a startup company with the best technology in the world, and they get no attraction because they don't have a very large company behind them helping them, right? And so everyone looks at the Magic Quadrant and consternates around it and feels that it's unfair. But at the end of the day, if I sat you in the seat as an analyst, the role I played and the team I managed, you would feel the same exact way. You would get critiqued all the time, but you're paid to be a critic, right? And so that's kind of, I think, a fascinating part of being at Gartner.